Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NJ.com's live coverage of the 2025 election. It is a big night here in Jersey. Of course, the biggest question on everyone's mind is who is going to be the next governor of New Jersey? We're keeping you in the loop on the latest election results. Of course, paying special attention to the governor's race. We are bringing you behind the scenes insights and reactions from our staff, politicians, other experts, even social media content creators who have been covering the race and following our candidates. My name is Natalie Patterson. I'm the video manager at NJ.com, and co-hosting with me tonight is political reporter Brent Johnson and author of What Makes Jersey Run. That is a political newsletter. Hey, Brent, how are you?
Hi, Natalie. Doing very good.
Welcome to the stream. We are in it for the long haul tonight.
Indeed.
Feeling very anxious. What a day. Woke up this morning. First thing I saw on my phone was potential bomb threats in New Jersey. So,
I mean, it wouldn't be this election if there wasn't something happening on election day. This is like the most heated, crazy election that I've ever seen for governor in my time here. So you had to have something. You had to start the day off with something unusual.
Exactly. You expect the unexpected on election night anywhere, especially here in Jersey. And tonight, by the way, we're totally unscripted. That's how this night goes. You have to just go with it, roll with it, and bring you the very latest results as they're coming in. Also, we're connecting you with the about 30 people we have from NJ.com working on election coverage. We have reporters assigned to counties. We have managers, editors. We have video producers out at Mikie Sherrill's party tonight, at Jack Ciattarelli's party tonight. So we've got folks all over the place. Be sure to leave your comments on the live stream. We can see them. We can read them. We hope to engage with you guys. You are helping to drive this conversation. So feel free to drop any questions, comments, concerns, what's on your mind. Big night. Okay, Brent, first off, these fake bomb threats this morning, juvenile arrested?
Yeah. It seems to be, I mean, basically everyone in this, the state officials, everyone wants everyone to know that this was taken care of. There wasn't a real threat, and that most people have been able to vote, although there were delays in Passaic County, and county leaders are trying to get an emergency hearing to keep the polls open another hour, although it's already 8:03. So we've not heard anything official on that. So, but I mean, everything was taken care of, and there's not supposedly any threat to the public or threat to the voting systems in the state. But it's just
everything was calm, actually.
Yeah, everything was taken care of.
The state. Threats, yep. Cops came through with the bomb sniffing dogs, clearing the polling locations for something that was like pretty scary when you first saw it. Of course, on social, things were pretty calm. We were seeing police departments posting, sheriff's county, posting updates. So they got in there really fast. Like, I have to applaud our police departments and sheriff's departments. They responded very quickly, kept things in order for sure.
And we now live in an environment where so many results of elections and stuff are put into question. And so it's good to see that this was taken care of quickly. So there's not a rash of people thinking that maybe this might change the outcome. But, because that's what you have to think of in today's political environment is the thought that might affect things, and people might think that. But it does seem to be it was taken care of quickly.
Yeah. And then the rumor mill and the rage bait is working hard on election day.
Yeah.
Rumors of votes being changed, switched at polling locations. We've checked in with several of our managers and editors on tonight. We have seen no evidence of that. And you're seeing the same, right, Brent?
Yeah, I've not seen any. You will always have people who will say, especially on social media, that, this shows the elections being stolen and whatnot. But no, there's no official evidence of anything like that happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said already, Passaic is putting in a request. Passaic County is putting in a request to leave the polls open later until 9 o'clock. Clock's ticking. It's now 8:05, and you need a judge's ruling on that to make that happen?
A judge would have to come in, hold a quick hearing and a ruling. Also to note, under New Jersey law, if you are in line by 8 o'clock when the polls close, you are allowed to vote. So if you're in line at 7:58, you got online before they cut it off. Even if you don't vote until 9, you are allowed to vote. Because the polls close at 8, you just have to be online by 8.
Yeah. So if you know someone online, or if you're
Yes,
watching this from
text them.
online, stay in line.
Stay in line if you're still there.
They
And by the
want
way,
you to vote.
we have 6% of the vote returned on AP so far. Sherrill has the lead with 54%, and Ciattarelli's 45% so far. I mean, again, only 6% of votes counted, but votes are now starting to be tabulated. So
Yeah.
watch
And
out.
why does that come in so quickly? Why would that raise an eyebrow? Just explain. Why does that come
Yeah.
in so quickly,
Well,
Brian?
the state had Governor Murphy signed a law a few years ago after the 2021 election. If you don't remember, Murphy ran against Ciattarelli. He was running for re-election, and we didn't know on election night. It was so close that they sent everyone home, and we didn't have the final results that Murphy won by about 3 points until 24 hours later on Wednesday night. So in the wake of that, Murphy signed a law that allows New Jersey to start counting vote by mail ballots 5 days ahead of time. So they started counting on Friday. So you at least, the ones that have been tabulated and brought in, you at least have a sense of the early vote, how this is going.
Yeah. And speaking of early voting in New Jersey, let me bring up this graphic again,
Yes.
guys. You're seeing like behind the scenes, right? So we're directing, we're watching your comments, we're in touch with our newsroom. I see you commenting. I see you calling out the candidates that you guys support. Thank you so much for engaging with the live stream. If you've got a comment or a question or a concern, please drop it in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer it. 1.3 million
Yes.
early votes in New Jersey. How
Oh,
does
yeah.
that compare to our last governor's race?
It is more, and we're still getting used to voting early in person, mail-in balloting, and in-person early voting. It's all relatively new, so you're going to see this grow throughout time. I get the feeling more people as time go on will vote early in this way. And so, but yeah, I mean, and it shows Democrats. Basically, this doesn't show that these people voted for Democrats, Republicans. It is, if you're a registered Democrat, you're included in that blue dot. Registered Republican, you're included in that red dot. And if you're if you're an independent, you're in the gray dot. So some Democrats might have voted for Republicans, some Republicans might have voted for Democrats, and the others, who knows who they voted for. So this is really only like a guess type thing of who's leading. But Democrats felt good about these numbers, that they were going into election day with like having a bunch of votes banked. And Republicans started feeling a little worried early on, but then their numbers, Republicans don't vote by mail as much as Democrats do. And in fact, the president has said that he prefers you to vote in person. So Republicans feel good about these numbers compared to years past. But, you know, so much can change on election day, and Republicans tend to vote more on election day. But we're also hearing the turnout might be very high in this race. We had a record low turnout in the last governor's race, and I'm already hearing it was like a 40 last time. I'm already hearing it's closer to 50 this time. So we'll see. I mean, this was a big race, and it was close, and the polls didn't have anything decided, and they were throwing crazy accusations at each other. And it's an open seat, meaning we'll get a new governor no matter who wins. Yeah. So there's a lot of interest. And then the national scene. We're one of only 2 governor's races in the country, along with Virginia. And as with anything with Donald Trump, there's always extra eyeballs on it. It's always like he dominates the conversation, so you pay attention.
Absolutely. That's a good point to bring in Tom Martello, our politics editor and columnist. Let me bring in Tom real quick. Hey, Tom.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
How are you doing, Natalie?
Good. You know, it's just begun. The polls have only just closed. Maybe some polls are going to stay open until 9 up there in Passaic County. We'll see. But 1.35 million early votes. How does that sound to you, Tom?
Well, that's exactly 1/2 of the number of people who voted in total 4 years ago. In total was 2.6 million, and now we have 1.3 million who voted. And if Brent, what we're hearing is true, that the turnout seems to be pretty heavy. So I think we're going to have more people. Let me share with you, Natalie, my moment of kismet this afternoon. Okay, I am driving on my way to work here, driving to Woodbridge. I'm stopped at a stoplight, and I look up, and I see the car in front of me has the license plate, and the license plate said turnout. And I'm thinking, turnout, and you do one of those double takes, and I said, well, that's my moment of kismet, because turnout is going to be so crucial in this election, and somehow the car gods put that car in front of me this evening.
I want to meet the person who put their license plate order in and was like, you know what? I love elections so much.
Yeah.
Let me make that my
Had it all
license
year
plate.
long.
I'm the elections guy.
Election has a way of like just taking over, so I can see
Yeah.
how that would kind of go over.
And for the record, it was not a New Jersey license plate. So, but it's there we go.
That's
Oh,
funny.
Was that a PA license plate?
Yeah.
Oh, those
Yeah,
PA people.
They're probably in the
Yeah.
left lane going 60.
Yes.
Tom, you've been covering politics for like 40 years in Jersey. Have you ever covered a race like this?
It's everybody asked me, do you remember the dirty races? I said, no, actually, I remember the clean races because those are the ones that are few and far between. This is crazy. Yes, this is you have never seen, the specter of a president, other than a president coming in to campaign for someone, loom so large. So yes, this is an incredibly unique race for New Jersey, and I've been covering them since about 89 or a little bit in 85 and 89 was when I first really got into the races. But the dirty stuff we've seen, the lies and the dirty stuff, we've seen some of that before, but nothing quite like this.
Trump's presence in this election, not just for one candidate, that presence has been felt for both candidates. How do you think our president has affected the campaigns that they've run?
Well, I mean, it made Mikie Sherrill's campaign. Mikie Sherrill is, had something to attack Jack Ciattarelli on. If Donald Trump is not president, if Donald Trump was not elected last year, we would be talking about a Jack Ciattarelli landslide tonight. Jack, he had all the makings. He was sort of moderate. He had run twice. If you run and lose a couple of times in New Jersey, that's actually a good thing because it builds your name recognition. And in New Jersey, the voters like to throw the bums out every 4 to 8 years or so with the governor's race. We haven't had more than 8 consecutive years of one party since 1961, and he would be able to fight this on his own turf, which would be, you've had 8 years of Phil Murphy, and you've had 22 years of the Democrats, and good Lord, you're still paying the highest property taxes in the country. Now the fortune for a politician of the electricity rates going up, the utility stuff, and it would have been just an open shot for him. And Mikie and the Democrats have been on their heels. Instead, you've got Donald Trump, who's for many Democrats is extremely popular, most Democrats. And so Mikie now has something to tag Jack with, and Jack had to get the endorsement, and he will win votes from that, and he could, we're not saying he's not going to win, or it's not close, but without Donald Trump, he would, we'd be talking about 8 to 10 point win for him.
And you just hit on a comment that someone left on our YouTube channel. No matter who wins, you will be paying more. It's New Jersey. Tom, can you speak? We had a great conversation last week about, will anyone make it more affordable?
That commenter is right on. Yes, you will be paying more. I mean, there's there are two certainties right now. One is that we're going to get a new governor in January. The other is after 4 years, the homeowner property taxes will be higher. The way New Jersey is set up, you either you want your services, you want your public schools, you want you want your home rule, you want your 560 towns, and et cetera, et cetera. All of those affect the property taxes. And so, Chris Christie thumped his chest when he was, and I would say rightfully thumped his chest when he was able to keep it to a 2% increase per year. And so, what happens is, I've seen this happen every 4 years or every 8 years for a long time. In fact, Jim Florio's, his version of Dwight Eisenhower's military-industrial complex speech was his outgoing warning that property taxes would be a terrible thing from the years to come, and that was back in 1994. They both have plans to make it affordable. Mikey's is not very specific. Jack's is very specific, yet he doesn't say how he's going to pay for it. He wants to lower everybody's income taxes, but the income taxes are there to defray the property taxes. And so, what happens? What do you do? And he also has a Democratic legislature, to deal with. They are making good promises, and I'm sure they will try. But I wouldn't believe that you're going to see everybody's property taxes go down.
Just got a question. Enrique is one of our producers working in the background. Hi, Enrique. He just posted a question from a commenter. For in-person voting, candidates can have poll watchers. Is there an equivalent arrangement for vote by mail? If so, are they present during the entire handling process for vote by mail ballots?
I don't think so. Brandon?
Yeah, I don't know of anything like that.
No.
That's not something I've heard.
You're going to bring someone into someone's house to watch them do it? I don't think so.
Yeah. I also want to note that, I know we have the numbers on screen, but 19% of votes have been counted by the Associated Press. Sherrill is up 64% to Ciattarelli's 36%.
And
so, again, only 19 points and only 19%.
And this is this I would imagine is the early voting that they're allowed.
Yes, the mail-in and early voting.
Right.
But yeah, as we know, they've already called Virginia. Most outlets have called Abigail Spanberger, the Democratic nominee, who was Sherrill's roommate on Capitol Hill. She won the governor's race in Virginia, so that's already been called. So we're still waiting on New Jersey.
Oh man, so really all eyes on Jersey.
Yeah, now everything. Yeah.
You get it.
And the New York mayor's race.
Yeah.
That's the other race. Yeah.
Easy.
Tri-state area for the win.
Yeah. Working in. By the way, thank you, Tom Martello. Thank you so much. We'll see you again in the 9 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Bye, Tom.
Thank you.
Just real quick, what you guys are seeing on screen is our graphics producer, Jillian Swisher. She's going to be working in the background all of tonight. She's making these graphics. She's updating them as the AP is posting new numbers as quick as she can. So thank you, Jillian, for keeping us up to date on the latest vote tally. I'm going to bring in Katie Couch, data reporter for NJ.com. Hey, Katie.
Hey, Natalie. How's it going?
Not bad. Busy day. That was a little bit of a crazy day to start the day. And then it got calm. So we're okay. We're okay. Tell me, how you doing? What's on your mind? Like, what's front of mind for you tonight in the data world?
Yeah, I think the big thing in the data world is really the surge in the number of Republicans we've seen over the past 4 years. Since the start of Murphy's second term, there's been a 10% increase statewide in the number of registered Republicans. Keep in mind what Brent said earlier, just because you are registered as a Republican does not mean you will vote Republican, but it tends to be a pretty good indicator of what somebody, might do. And we've seen some towns that are maybe a little bit less expected have some really big surges. I'm thinking Elizabeth, which saw a 55% increase in the number of Republicans. East Orange at 54%, Patterson, which in kind of a surprise move voted for Trump in the last presidential election, almost 48% increase in voter registration. Very few towns lost Republicans at all, really only some of the wealthier towns in Morris County and the bordering towns in Somerset County, a lot of towns in Sherrill's district. So it'll be really interesting to see if that increase in registration translates into more votes.
Yeah. And of course, New Jersey is a blue state, but where have we seen gains in Republican registrations? Is that what you've got behind you? And that's we're going back since Murphy's second term, the beginning of Murphy's second term in 2022. Is that right?
Yeah. So we're talking January of 2022 to October of 2025. So a little bit under 4 years. So you can see here that it's pretty much statewide. Very few towns have lost any Republicans. And some of the darker red areas, it's because they had so few to start with, right? So let's say you have 100 Republicans, you added 100 Republicans. It's not a ton of voters, but it is still a 100% increase. So you'll see it's a lot of the urban areas, a lot of the areas with a lot of Hispanic voters, which we've seen nationally have started to trend to the Republican Party. Not something we've seen in New Jersey historically, but something that has been happening within the past couple of years.
Interesting.
Guys, I want to note, so Decision Desk HQ has called the race for Sherrill. We go by the Associated Press. We wait for the AP to make the call, but you're already starting to see reputable sources say that it looks like Sherrill's going to win tonight. Just wanted to know. And
Jillian's getting an updated graphic ready right now on the votes as well. Thank you. Oh, it's in. Let me put that on screen. Here we go. Okay. Wow. This is going to update really quickly. You're never quite sure how this is going to go. Sorry, Katie Couch.
This is live TV. And
yeah, exactly.
Listen, this is not necessarily the most surprising outcome. It wouldn't have been the most surprising outcome if it had gone the other way. New Jersey is a purple state when it comes to our governors. We are fairly reliably blue when it comes to federal elections. The pundits have been saying this whole time, this election could really be a referendum on the mood around current President Donald Trump. Is that what we're seeing in New Jersey? Way too early to tell, but it is certainly, something to consider and something to think about and get the data on as we get all of the results.
Going back to where we saw big jumps in Republican registrations those couple years ago, what was going on in those areas? Why the change, Katie?
Yeah, so I talked to Al Barlas, the chairman of the Republican Party in Essex County, and he said it's really simple. It kind of boils down to, are you better now than you were however many years ago? And a lot of these areas, they've been really reliably Democratic. A lot of voters are not feeling like their lives are better. Barlas said that they've been really boots on the ground in the community. One example he gave was there was a big kite festival and they donated, a whole bunch of kites, backpack drives, stuff like that. And he said, really, their goal was just to remind the voters that the Republican Party is there all year round, all 4 years, not just on election day and presidential years. The mood has been shifting nationally. This is not unique to New Jersey, but obviously we're interested in New Jersey. We are NJ.com. So it's a lot of the economy. It's the same thing you're hearing nationally, just here at home.
Yeah. Thanks, Katie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you a little bit later in the program too.
Great.
Thanks, Katie. All right, Brent, are you surprised at how quickly these results are coming in?
I am surprised, but I mean, not a majorly shocked because we know we have that new law that allows these things to be counted sooner. I'm surprised Sherrill is doing. Not that I don't think Sherrill's going to win. Polls have shown Sherrill in front, but that the gap is so wide. But it really depends on what part of the state is getting called. Usually, we don't see like cities like Newark come later until the tally. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the fact that Decision Desk already called it, I didn't expect that to happen around 8:15 like it did. But again, we wait for the Associated Press. The Associated Press has not called the race. We have about a quarter of the votes in, according to the AP. And Sherrill is up 62% to 38% over Ciattarelli. So no, Sherrill has been in the lead. The question is how big, her victory was going to be. Could Ciattarelli close the gap on election day? But this has been, insiders have been telling me for weeks that they feel comfortable about Sherrill, but it's still a jump ball. It was still anyone's game, that anything could change.
Yeah, we've been surprised before, right? Like, yeah. I won't hang my hat on any polls for sure.
Especially after what happened 4 years ago in 2021. Yeah. Murphy was up 8 in the final poll, and he only won by 3. So I guess no one was like resting on their laurels. Ken Martin, the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, told me a few days ago, he's like, we're not taking anything for granted here. So not a shock that this is what we're seeing right now, but it's a little bit further of a gap than I thought. But again, things can change. Even if Sherrill ends up getting the election gets called early, the gap could change by the end of the night.
Unbelievable. And yeah, we could have another stretch before like a big jump. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
And Jillian just uploaded another graphic, another update. Let's bring that on screen. Mikie Sherrill, 531. Jack Ciattarelli,
About 200,000 votes. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is moving. Why don't we bring in Senator John Bramnick? He is backstage. Let's bring him in. Senator, how are you this evening?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Thank you so much for joining us tonight on such a big night. It's really cool that you're here with us because you have a really interesting perspective on what it's like to run a campaign in 2025 for New Jersey governor. What was that like? How challenging was that in the climate that we're in right now?
Well, pretty challenging when you're not 100% Trumper, right? So I would go all over the state, and the first thing would say to me, "Oh, you don't like Trump?" I said, "No. My position is if the president does something good for New Jersey, I support it. And if it's something I don't like, I say it." I mentioned in one of the debates that he basically pardoned 15 or 1,800 people who beat up police officers. I disagree with that. I got booed. I agree that you should close the border. So I think New Jersey wants somebody. They want a Republican, but they want a Republican who's going to be 100%, let's say, independent of everybody. So running it, let me tell you, was not easy. I can tell you. I went to certain counties and they just gave me dirty looks.
John, are you surprised by what you're seeing with the results so far? Sherrill up 200,000 with a quarter of the vote in?
Not at all, because look, this is a referendum on President Trump. And the reason is, just think about this. All people hear all day is President Trump. That's all the media does.
100%.
Right? Every 30 seconds, it's President Trump, good, bad, or indifferent. So people go like this. Nobody believes we're going to lower taxes. Okay. So I've told my consultants a million times, please don't tell people I'm lowering taxes because they don't believe it. They see whatever the polling is. They go, oh, go with the polling. No. Go with authenticity. They have to decide whether they like you. They don't believe you're going to do anything. So they decide whether they like you. And New Jersey is not a Trump state. It's simple as that. And when he did things like tore down the White House, it's not exactly what people like. So once again, he does some stuff that's okay and does some stuff that people don't like. But that's how you have to call it.
So you ran against Jack in the primary. Do you think it was the wrong move for him to align with Trump this time?
In the primary, it was
yeah.
In the primary, yes. But then he probably should have called President Trump and said, listen, I'm going to say some stuff, okay? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I think President Trump should have put his arm around him by the tunnel down by the Holland and Lincoln Tunnel and said, hey, guess what? I'm going to fix all this because I like Jack Ciattarelli. So I didn't, those kind of things might have helped. But the bottom line is New Jersey polls against, they don't like Donald Trump and they're sending a message to the White House. It's simple as that. This is not, life isn't that complicated and politics ain't that complicated.
Feels really complicated lately. It feels really complicated the last few years to the lay person, not
in terms of this kind of race. I mean, there are people who are coming out. Think about, I always say, which side is the passion, right? The passion is, they're so passionate against Trump. Are they passionate against taxes? Yes, but as I said, they don't believe that. This is Democrats, and I believe a lot of independents are saying, hey, we're sending a message. So that's, every issue is which side is more passionate.
What do you think? So if Sherrill does end up winning, as the numbers show her up, and some places have already called the race for her, what does it mean for the future of the GOP in the state?
Well, I think we have to resume what we always were, and that was a Tom Kean Sr. party, Christie Whitman party, Chris Christie party. You can't be just a MAGA party in New Jersey. They have to say, you have to be, I remember Governor Kean used to say 75% of people in New Jersey are in the middle. You have to be in the middle. And you can't be mad, right? You don't go and go, I hate Democrats. I hate what, no. I did the way John McCain did it. You go, look, I disagree. I I like Phil Murphy personally. People go like, oh, you like Phil Murphy? You're an evil person. Well, what are you talking about? So the bottom line is you have to show that you're authentic and you don't hate the other side. Otherwise, guess what? We're going to lose. We're going to lose. We're going to lose.
So would you ever run for governor again?
Would I? Yeah, if I get a little younger over the next 4 years, if I can pick up. Look, I'm not ruling it out. If the party decides they want that old type moderate Republican, do I fit in anymore in terms of a moderate Republican? All I know is I win, and I win a district with 7,000 more Democrats over and over again, because I'm just going to tell you how I feel. And people go like this, oh, you can't say that. I said, I can't. I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm just going to keep doing it. Simple as that. And since my comedy career is not going anywhere, I figured I had to stay in politics.
I always like to say that
you got a show coming up at the end of the week.
I know. And I'd also like to note that my wife and I went on one of our very first dates to one of your comedy shows that I had to cover for the paper. So you will always hold a place in our couple history.
And it was there that you asked her for her hand in marriage.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It was probably a great night. So,
and Joe Piscopo was there too. So it was like
we probably sold out at NJ Pack. Please don't call me. I probably can't get tickets for you. It's just people are going to be outside scalping tickets outside the Pack. I can't help you.
Oh my gosh. Just got an update. Jillian Swisher, our graphics producer, just updated the tally for us. 28% of votes have been counted according to Associated Press. And Enrique, our producer, has a question from a viewer. Is there any scenario in which Jack closes this gap and wins?
Look, I'm not a pollster and I'm not a pundit. But what I'm seeing tonight is big turnouts in Hudson, Essex, in Union. I just think the numbers show that, he can't win. But look, I'll leave that up to the experts. I also saw an exit poll which said he was losing independents or unaffiliateds. If that's true, then he definitely can't win. But look, as I said, that's not my expertise, is going down to Trenton and saving people tax. I'm sorry, that's a joke. My expertise is returning everyone's call on the first ring. No, really, I don't know. All I'm going to tell you, the numbers don't look good for Jack.
Yeah. I remember seeing something from you, John, on social media. You were talking to young people after Charlie Kirk and checking in with them and seeing how they were doing, what was on their minds. What really stuck out to you most in that time? What were you hearing from our young voters?
Well, Joe Cry and I went to a number of colleges. There is such a thirst for civility. There's such a thirst for some relationships between Democrats and Republicans. They were so happy. We went to these colleges, hundreds of kids, students would show up. It was an out-of-body experience. Even the professors, even the police officers who were there for security, they were so happy that they could talk, ask a question. They weren't put down. Joe Cry and I disagreed on issues, but we did it in a way that I think we're supposed to do it. I tell you, it's really, really moving when you go into college campuses and you see how smart and how nice and how civil and how respectful people are. And I wish we saw more of that in the media.
Oh, and I was just going to say, I mean, that's the coolest part of my job, right? Being a video producer is you get to just talk to people. You get to just sit down and talk to people. And once you start talking, great things usually happen. I mean, if it's not going to be good or productive, it usually is shut down pretty quickly, but once you get talking, you find things to agree over.
Well,
so different,
to be honest with you, I used to go on all the networks, CNN, Fox, and MSNBC. And the guy who used to get me on is Peter Zurich, which is Olympia Dukakis' son, right? And he called me one day and said, we can't put you on anymore. I said, what? I said, I'm a trial lawyer. I'm funny. I got all that, okay? He said, because you have to be clearly one side or the other, and you have to be extreme, because otherwise people won't watch it. They're not going to watch people trying to solve a problem. They want to see us versus them. Otherwise, it doesn't sell. So I lost my TV career.
Now you're on YouTube.
With us. I'd like to know.
Well, let me tell you, where do you get the ratings? I won't be on next year.
To your point, John, when you mentioned about the exit polling, yeah, it's the CNN's exit polling shows that Sherrill leads independents 52% to 45%, which was one of the things that the Ciattarelli campaign was hoping for, was that independents would help carry them. And according to, again, CNN's exit poll, that shows that's not the case. So I don't know if that's the race right there.
You want to win in New Jersey and you're a Republican, show them your heart. Okay. Think about it. Show them more than you just hate what Democrats are doing in Trenton. That is not enough to win.
Yeah. Oh, John, thank you so much for joining us. It's really been a pleasure to talk with you.
Senator, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. I'm going out to see how Nancy and Michelle are doing in District 21. I'm heading down there now.
Good luck to you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night. Oh, he's funny. I want to bring up this comment because this is a comment I see a ton on social media. This is rigged. What do you think when you see this, Brent? Because I see this all the time. And
there has never been any widespread data to show that there's widespread election fraud. There's always cases of election fraud. There's always individual things, but there's never been anything showing that this is widespread across the country. So it's the U.S. election system is widely praised. You'll hear New Jersey officials saying that they're, despite the New Jersey being known as a corrupt state, that New Jersey's election system is very good. So unless there's something being hidden there we don't know about, which would take a major sort of conspiracy theory type thing, you have to assume that things are on the up and up. And Ciattarelli, to his credit, has said before that no, he does not think fraud is what cost him the last election. He has said that it was a lack of mail-in ballots and a number of other things. So there's not been like the same stop the steal like push in New Jersey that you've seen elsewhere.
Yeah. All right. Moving ahead. And thank you, Jillian, our graphics producer, who's been updating the AP results in the background. Although, Brent, who called the race already?
Decision Desk Headquarters, which is a group that makes these kind of calls, but we go by the Associated Press. And so far, Decision Desk is the only thing that I've seen, and the major ones to have called it yet. I'm looking around to see if there's anything else. But right now, we're waiting on the Associated Press, and they have 28% of the vote counted. Sherrill up 61 to 39 over Ciattarelli percentage points. So, we're still waiting on official things, but right now, Decision Desk has called it. It does look like it's trending in that direction, but we'll see. There's still some time left for things to change.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good spot to bring in former state Senate President Steve Sweeney, who's been waiting backstage. I think you even caught some of what John Bramnick had to say there.
Yeah. John's a good friend.
Steve, how do you think tonight's playing out? I mean, surprised?
I think, honestly, all the craziness that's going on in Washington has really impacted this race. I mean, there's been a lot of motivation here where I live in southern New Jersey. We normally do very well with vote by mail, and we lose when the machines, election day, we tied them, at least Republican, Democrat. I don't know what the unaffiliates are doing, but no, it's not surprising me because people are really stressed right now with what's going on in this country. So, Mikie pointed out this is a lot about Trump, and I think it is.
Steve, really good to see you. Are you not surprised by the results we've seen so far?
I started feeling better about the chances for Mikie this past weekend. You could just feel there was a shift, Brett. So, I was telling people I thought she was going to win by 5 points, and this morning people were asking me, and I said I think she'll win by 8. So it's people are motivated to vote where I didn't see a month ago. You didn't feel this energy.
No, you didn't. Is there? Do you know why? Is there a thought why the polls were so close? If this is the results we're seeing, was this a tough election to gauge?
Well, yeah. Well, think about this, Brent. We haven't had a three consecutive term Democrat in 64 years. I was 2 years old when that happened. You know what I mean? So everyone was making it that this was going to be an easy race for Mikie, but this state is not it's not a blue state. It's a purple state. I mean, we had a lot of Republican governors, so I think Mikie's performed extremely well. Obviously, I'm very happy for her. I ran against her. She beat me. But, when you don't win, you get back in line and you help the team get over the field. And right now in Gloucester County, which is a bellwether county, with early voting and vote by mails, she was up over 9,000 votes, which is pretty big.
Do you, what do you think this says about next year? Because the nation has been watching this race. What do you think it says about the midterms going into those next year?
Well, if this thing goes the way I think it's going, and in Virginia, I think this shutdown will end pretty quickly. But if I'm the Republicans in Washington, I think they have to be scared to death of what's coming their way, because people are just angry. Brett, I felt it in 2021 over COVID. People were really angry over COVID. You got people really upset. They think about it. They just got their health care premium. If you have government health insurance, November 1st, the timing couldn't be worse. Here's your bill. It went up 3 times. And if you're relying on SNAP, November 1st, they shut you off. That's a lot of people, and they're in charge. The Republicans are in charge nationally, not the Democrats. So, I'm not surprised. I'm telling you, you could feel it. You could start to feel it. Brett, and you've been around elections a long time too. You could just start to feel it moving underneath your feet. And I think she's run a good campaign, and I think she's going to be our next governor.
There was a lot of criticism around her campaign that she maybe didn't have the right message, that she was, she wasn't progressive enough. She was talking too much about Trump. She had kind of gave word salad answers. Do you think those were unfair criticisms, and that maybe she's improved since Democrats were nervous earlier in the race?
Well, put it to you this way: she's winning right now, so she couldn't have run such a bad campaign. And look, putting a lot of focus on Trump is the right place to put it. Jack said he would give Trump an A during that last debate. You know what I mean?
Are you surprised he said that?
He had no choice.
Yeah.
You can't get what I mean? Tweet. Yeah, the president would tweet at you and give you a nickname.
And Jack needed Trump for the primary, but it's basically a curse. You know what I mean? Because Trump is not popular here. And just because we didn't run a good race nationally last year, we still won in New Jersey. You know what I mean? She still won by 6 points. So, like I said, I think that this is a referendum on Trump as much as anything else. And you see what's going on in Virginia right now. I haven't seen New York yet, but California, I think it's going to go the way of the Democrats too. So if I'm a congressperson, a Republican congressperson, I got to be sitting there saying, what the hell are we going to do here?
What about you? Would you, now things are looking better for Democrats. Would you ever run for anything again, whether it be in the legislature, Congress, governor?
No. Listen, I'm happy where I'm at in life. I'm happy to help Mikie in any way possible. Again, I ran for governor because I care about this state. Brett, and we all talk about we hate taxes, but no one wants to change the way we deliver government in order to reduce costs. Because if you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome, Einstein said it's insanity. So we got to take a very serious look on the delivery of government, because the state of New Jersey doesn't do property taxes, but we give you rebates so you can still run the same inefficient and expensive government. People have had enough, and they're going to figure this out. Things have to change.
If she does win, does she have a tough road ahead of her with how the budget is set up and taxes and all that? And even though she does seem to be on the road to victory,
She's going to have a tough time. The budget's not, we've looked at the budget. The budget's in bad shape. So, she's coming into basically a major storm when it comes to the finances of the state. And everyone has to be on board to try to help, because New Jersey's, I'll never leave it. It's the greatest state in the country. And government needs to fix what it broke.
do you think we'll ever see property taxes actually go down in New Jersey?
If you make the decisions to make every school district a K to 12, Brent, instead of the K2s, 4s, 6s, and 8s, you could eliminate half the school districts and, just have K to 12 high schools. You can eliminate an enormous amount of cost. But something, you have to be willing to make a change. We in New Jersey like what we have. We just don't want to pay for it. And guess what? It is too expensive. So show people how you can do things differently to bring the cost of government down. I did it many years as freeholder director in Gloucester County. And we provide countywide ambulance service. I'm proud that Monmouth County is following in that path, where we're running half the ambulances and have faster response times. We have to look at government differently, and I'm certainly hoping when Mikie becomes governor, she has an open mind, and I think she does, to look, like I said, you can't continue to do what we're doing here. It's just not working. And so we come up with rebate program on top of rebate program, which we give back to the towns so they can keep running ineffective and expensive government. There's just too much of it here, and honestly, if I had been successful, I would be absolutely jumping into this thing and showing people change. I know it's scary, but when you make change, as long as your child goes to the same elementary school and has the same third grade teacher, there's just not an administration. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be better off.
Thank you for saying the thing, because when
New
you're
Jersey's expensive, yeah.
well, yeah, but also when you're outside the political arena, right? Like, I'm a video manager, video producer, right? You dip in and out of it. It's not my whole life like yours, Steve, like Brent's.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel there's such a disconnect in how our government is speaking to us. You hear the same lines over and from both parties, Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're stuck in these safety comments, or these comfortable comments, like lowering property taxes, even though you can't do that unless huge change happens, unless you're willing to give something up, and to hear it broken down like that into simple. It's complicated, but it's also very simple. You have to trade, feels real good to get that rebate in the mail. I got it. You're like, yay. But I want more. I don't want $1,000, $1,500,
And listen, you get the rebate, but the average property tax bill is $10,000 now.
Exactly.
So your taxes aren't going down by any means at all. They're just trying to give you a rebate to calm you down a little bit. And you know something? That money goes pretty fast on that check. You know what I mean? It goes real fast.
Yeah, that doesn't even cover the childcare, not close for one child. So
yeah.
Thanks for breaking that down, Steve, and joining us. Brent, did you have any other questions you wanted to shoot at Steve?
Maybe you'll join us in Central Jersey and have both tail or ham and pork roll eventually, because I know you're a South Jersey guy, Steve. So
listen, Brent, I don't eat either one of them.
I don't either. I don't really care. I know it's a debate. I don't care. But I do like Central Jersey though, because I'm from East Brunswick. So,
but there is a Central Jersey.
That's fair, and I appreciate South Jersey's leading Democrat telling me that. So
you got it, my friend.
Steve, thank you so much. Such a pleasure speaking with you tonight. Really
good talking to both of you guys.
Thank you,
well.
Senator. Have a great night.
Bye.
See you, Bill. Bye.
I see Tom Martello lurking backstage. Tom, can I bring you onto the stage real quick?
Wait, hold on 1 second. Tom has to go switch positions. He's going to go. Tom never stopped lurking right next to me. So
By the way,
going
Brent's
to
in
his
the
camera.
newsroom.
Yeah, I would like to note that behind me we changed the photos because before it was Mariano Rivera and Yogi Berra. So I could have Matt Harvey, who was once my pitching hero, behind me because go Mets. And even with Yogi Berra there, who was once a New York Met and a New York Mets coach. We also have Gil Hodges, the former Brooklyn Dodger, who we named, and then the former New York Mets manager, who we named our dog Hodges after. And shout out to my wife Lindsay and my kids Everly and Carter, who should be in bed by now, but who knows? Maybe they're at home watching. So just wanted to say that. And Carter was named after Gary Carter for the New York Mets. So if you couldn't tell, we care a lot about the New York Mets in this family. Politics and Mets.
I am also a Mets fan. My brother is a huge Mets fan. So it just, by default, I had to be a Mets fan. That's just how that was going to go. So
you learn so many life lessons being a Mets fan. Following politics and and rooting for the Mets. You will learn about everything in the human existence. So
no wonder you can stay in politics so long.
Exactly.
Brian.
We're used to being beaten up. So by the way, we're still waiting. I still see that Decision Desk is the only one that has called it for Sherrill, it seems. That doesn't mean she's not going to win. But the latest AP count, similar to what we have up there, Sherrill is up 59% to Ciattarelli's 41%, with 32% of the votes counted. So again, still trending in that direction. But the fact that AP hasn't called this almost an hour in means that they're still waiting on some sort of result. That's why they haven't called the race. So we could see some change here, but nothing official yet from the Associated Press, which is what we go by.
Yes, thank you. Jillian just uploaded that new graphic. And what did you say? 32% of votes in?
32% of votes in, and she's up 59 to 41.
Okay. Matt Hale is backstage, political science professor at Seton Hall University and councilman in Highland Park. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
Hi, Matt.
Well, I'm ready to talk baseball.
Yes. Are you a Mets or Yankee fan, Matt?
Oh God.
Oh, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means in this crowd, but
what are you doing here?
All right. I was only 3 years old in 1986, so
that's terrifying.
Oh my God.
Just don't steal Pete Alonso from us this year. That's all
right. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
Quick comment from Alice here. They're waiting for Passaic County to call it. I think she's answering you, Brent.
Yeah, well, the judge actually did rule they were going to keep it open till 9. So that might also be part of the reason why we haven't seen results called. We're waiting for more results out of Passaic County. Matt, what do you make of this so far? What are the returns surprising, or is this what you thought?
No, I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be a long night and a nail biter. This is so far it seems like it's a pretty big win for Mikie Sherrill. She's winning in all the places she needs to, and he's actually underperforming in places that he needed to do well in. So I was expecting this to be a lot closer, but right now it certainly looks like a pretty decisive Sherrill win.
What do you make of that? Put on your political science cap.
So at the end of the day, Mikie Sherrill ran on two things. I'm a helicopter pilot and I hate Trump. And the hate Trump is what pulled this vote out. I think this is if it holds, and if she continues with this lead, I think it's nothing more than a total repudiation by the Garden State of Donald Trump. I think that's the issue she ran on. Her campaign thought that was the winning one, and it looks like that might be the case.
I mean, I guess there was the thought process going into Jack needed to get the Trump endorsement in the primary because he had to ensure he beat Spadia, and the party had shifted to be more Trump embracing. But do you think it was a mistake for him to link himself so closely in the general election, or was that because he didn't want Trump to, call him a curse word in a Truth Social post?
Well, he bent the knee to Trump, and Trump still canceled the tunnel, right? I mean, if Trump really, really cared about Jack Ciattarelli, he would have not done that, at least until after the election. I mean, I think that's a big deal for people up north who are trying to get into the city, having Trump cancel that, and then having Jack say nothing about it. I think that was the error. he didn't really have a choice. Donald Trump is dominant in the Republican Party. There's no other. You got to bend the knee if you want to have a seat at the table, and so he did. But then he tried his best to sort of show that he's not really a MAGA person. He ran a really, really, I think, a great campaign, but he couldn't overcome the fact that a lot of people are scared about Donald Trump in a whole bunch of different ways.
What does this say? I mean, we know the nation has been watching these races, Virginia and New Jersey. What does this say about the midterms next year? Is this should Republicans be on alert?
What's interesting to me is that it looks like there's three different ways to say you don't like Trump. In New York City, you've got a Democratic socialist who's as far left and anti-Semitic as you can possibly be, and he's going to win. You have in Virginia, you have a very, very clear centrist who running as a centrist, and she's going to win. And in New Jersey, you had Mikie Sherrill, who sort of had to keep all the Democrats together. So her issue, she didn't talk a lot about issues. She didn't take a lot of stances, but she kept the tent together and she kept the registration advantage. That's three different ways that Democrats won. And I think that speaks well for the midterms.
So what does this say about the political climate in New Jersey? If she holds this lead, you will still have a Democratic legislature. You'll have a Democratic governor for the third time in a row since the first time since the Mets were not even one. Mets didn't even exist in 1961.
Yeah.
I know, and the Beatles were still playing the Cavern Club in Liverpool. So what do you make of? Will it just be status quo in New Jersey? Or are we going to? Will she actually try and make the state more affordable? Is the state budget not going to help there? I mean, what do you think the next few years will look like?
No matter who is going to win this election, the next governor's got a whole bunch of challenges. The amount of money that the federal government has cut from state programs, the fact that the federal government is very clearly going to target blue states more than red states. No matter who takes the helm at the governor, it's a really, really tough set of circumstances. The budget is going to be atrocious next year. It's going to be really difficult. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her get in there and it's going to be a slog. Whether she can do some big changes, under this budget condition is going to be tough to see.
Natalie, you got anything? Otherwise, I'll keep asking questions.
No, I can see people asking if the AP has called this race or if
it is
these
not
numbers are final. No, these are not final numbers. We are at 38% of votes counted according to AP. AP has not called this race.
Does that surprise you, Matt? Or do you think that maybe there's more parts of the state they haven't called yet, and we still might see some tightening? It does seem to be she's up by about 15% now. I can't do math very well.
I think one of the great things about New Jersey is every county's different, right?
Yes.
And within counties, you got sub counties, and within county, you got cities right next to each other. The one could be red and one could be blue, and so having some caution about where before pulling a winner, I think makes some sense. Especially since one of the things that Jack tried to do is sort of play in her lane in a couple different places and carve out some of her votes. So that didn't work very well, but I would hold off a little bit until the numbers are a little more solid.
This is also, what we saw last year in the presidential, we saw Trump improved his margins, but it seemed to be more that Democrats didn't come out as much. And it seems like that's not the case here. Turnout seems to be more robust than we thought. So does that mean that you need Democrats not to be engaged for a Republican to win in this state?
Well, I don't know. I think one of the things we kept hearing during this campaign is nobody was enthusiastic about Mikie, right?
Yeah.
There was this enthusiasm gap, but it didn't actually turn out that way. I do think one of the most important things is Democrats in New Jersey are much better at getting out at the vote than Republicans, whether it's vote by mail, voting early, all of those things. And so, the infrastructure that is in the Democratic county parties, even, the local parties, the local county committees, They work incredibly hard to knock on doors and make phone calls and put up signs. And that type of retail politics still matters in New Jersey. You can't just rely on television. You need to knock those doors. And Democrats are better than Republicans. Republicans are getting better. Republicans have discovered that vote by mail is not the end of the world. So I expect over the next couple of years that might shrink a little bit. But that ground game and the work of local Democratic committees really is, I think, a big factor in this.
Do you feel the nervousness that some Democrats had privately and publicly about her campaign, the bedwetting, as they call it, was that unfair?
No, I mean, I think if you were out and about and you were talking to people and I remember talking and I've talked to Democrats who, would be they were going to vote for Jack, and they were going to, and so I don't think the bedwetting was at all undeserved. I think that the issue is that the Sherrill campaign looked at the numbers and said, our winning path is Trump is terrible. And we say that again and again and again. And that's how we're going to keep the people in the 800,000 person advantage in registration. That's the uniting factor in the Democratic Party right now. And that's what they did. So it was certainly a strategy and a path to try and keep all the Democrats in one tent. And it worked, but it's also one that causes a lot of bedwetting, as you said.
Real quick, obviously only Jack Ciattarelli knows this, but is this the end of the line for Jack Ciattarelli, you think, or could you see him running 4 years from now again?
I don't know if I've ever met a politician that loves the campaign trail more than Jack Ciattarelli.
Sure, that's been his job the last decade.
It's pretty much his job for the last decade, and and he loves it, and he is good at it, and I'm not. It's tough to be a 4-time loser or a 4-time candidate, But I don't know that Jack is done. There might be other things that he's going to do, but I think it's pretty tough to lose 3 times and expect something to be different next time.
Thanks, Matt. Professor Matt Hale, thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate having you on.
Hey, thanks for having it, and let's go back to baseball after this.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yep.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, just got a note from one of our managers. The AP results right now do not include Passaic, Somerset, and Middlesex counties.
Well, those are big
Morris
ones.
County just reported some of its results to AP, and that county is favoring Trump. So the next update, are we going to see Jack close some of the gap a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, you could see that she's up 14 right now with 41% of the votes counted. Again, this time last year, we already had a victory for U.S. Senator Andy Kim in the primary. In this year's Democratic primary, we are at this point in the night, we already knew Mikie Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli had won. So we've reached 9 o'clock now. So I'm a little surprised with these returns that we don't have a call yet, but that means the AP sees something that we don't know about. Otherwise, they would have called it. So yeah, I guess there's always a chance until you see that check go up next to Mikie Sherrill's name.
All right, tell you what, Brent, let's take like a 2-minute break. Let's take a 2-minute break, and we'll come right back. I'm going to update this graphic from Jillian, our graphics producer, real quick, and I'll see you in like 3 minutes.
All right, and thanks to everyone for joining us.
All right, let's get. Hey folks, we are back. I am Natalie Patterson. I'm the video manager with NJ.com. Welcome to our election night live stream. We're bringing you results from the Associated Press as quickly as we get them. We're sharing them with you. We are also connecting you directly to our newsroom tonight. You'll see myself and my co-host speaking to reporters, video producers, managers, and editors in the background tonight. You may even see us on the phone. Sorry about that. But it is election night in New Jersey, a huge and important night. And we're seeing results coming in pretty steadily here. Let me bring in Brent Johnson, political reporter and author of the What Makes Jersey Run political newsletter. And real quick, Brent, I'm just going to update this graphic. Thank you, Jillian Swisher in the background, our graphics producer tonight, updating these numbers as quickly as she can as they're coming in. Brent, what do you make of how quickly things are happening here? 52% counted.
Yeah, we're now past the halfway mark. And just so people might have seen online that the Decision Desk HQ has already called this for Sherrill. The New York Times is saying that the results aren't official yet, but it looks like it's trending to a Sherrill governorship. Let's say that 6 times fast. But we still have not called it because the Associated Press has not called it. That's our Decision Desk. We wait for this group called the Associated Press that makes these decisions. So right now, with 52% of the votes counted, Sherrill is up by about 15%. So that's a comfortable margin, but we're still waiting for big areas of the state to have their votes come in, including Passaic County, which had some voting issues today. And we had on a bunch of guests. If you missed the first half, we had former state Senate President Steve Sweeney, a Democrat who ran for governor but lost in the primary, and state Senator John Bramnick, a Republican who lost to Ciattarelli in the primary for governor. And they said basically it looks like this is a Trump backlash with what these numbers are showing, that New Jersey is a purple state, but this is a referendum on Donald Trump and also maybe a referendum on what's going on with the state with affordability. But they believe that Sherrill is the person to hang on to the state for another 4 years for Democrats if this is what shows out. But again, nothing official yet. So we're still waiting for official results.
Yeah, let me bring in Tom Martello, the politics editor and columnist. Tom, welcome back.
Hello, how are you?
How you doing? This is moving quicker than I would have anticipated. But we talked about enthusiasm with Steve Sweeney and John Bramnick. Are we feeling that from what we're looking at in terms of the results?
I think we're feeling enthusiasm against Donald Trump. I think there is some enthusiasm for Mikie Sherrill, but I think there are a lot of progressives who said, I don't particularly like Mikie Sherrill because of what happened in the primary, and they wanted to go to the left, et cetera, et cetera. But there is a lot of, but they're going to say, no, we're going to go that way for Mikie Sherrill because we want to send Donald Trump a message. That New Jersey is not a MAGA state, and I think that's part of what we're seeing here. I'm looking at some of the results today right now, and I'm seeing with 70% of the vote counted in Hunterdon County, which is a solidly Republican county, the Mikie Sherrill has a small lead, has about a 3,000 vote lead, and then I'm looking at Monmouth County, which it's about a 20,000 vote lead for Jack Ciattarelli, and Monmouth County went, he carried that by about 50 some odd thousand votes or more against Phil Murphy. So I think you're seeing certain areas where the equation is that he had to get certain numbers of independents. He had to get certain numbers of Democrats that come across, and I think that's a problem. A lot of Democrats who might have voted for him, and I think it got worse in the last couple of weeks with the shutdown. Just figured that no, we simply can't. We simply can't. We're not there yet, but he's got at 200 and 200. We're getting very close to a point where, how is he going to make up 200 and some odd thousand votes? With some of these counties that are out, not the large Republican counties are out. It's purple counties and some Democratic counties are out.
Tom, let me ask you this, because we talk about this race every day. We've covered it every step of the way. For having written columns for the last few months, are you surprised that it's not closer now and that it's looking like it's trending to Sherrill? What are your thoughts?
Well, maybe we're always underestimating Mikie Sherrill. I mean, it's just, we said this is a repeat of what happened in the primary. We were sort of like, we were saying, you know, she does same equation. She didn't have she's not generating the excitement, and she's sticking to the helicopter pilot, and she's you know, and so she's in the lead in all the polls, and she's led pretty much every poll with the exception of one in the general election cycle. And we're talking about 20 or 30 polls. I know we like to trash polls, but you know that, you know, they're very serious people who try to do a good job and in a very difficult job. And in the end, she won, you know, it was 39. As I mentioned in college, our pizza hardly got cold, you know, by the time we called the race in the primary. So I think that, you know, there's, you know, and the idea that right now everybody will talk about, you know, the future of the Democratic Party, and with Mamdani winning in New York. But New York is a different place. New York City is a different place than New Jersey. New Jersey is a suburban state, and as John Bramnick mentioned, that, you know, that Tom Kean told him, and everybody well know, New Jersey is a moderate state. We work from a little bit left of center to a little bit right of center. I don't think that's changed, but there might be more people who are on those both sides, but in large part, moderates win in New Jersey.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it, and might call you again as
Well,
this night goes on.
As you know, I don't know how to get out of this thing, so I'm always lurking.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes.
He's the best. Hanging in there, Brent?
Yeah. There's a lot to follow online. I keep hearing a lot of people wondering why we don't have a call in this race, because I feel like Decision Desk made an early call. Now everybody's going off that.
Really?
Again, yeah, it was a very early call. There's AP hasn't called it yet, and that's the gold standard for us.
Yeah.
We also haven't seen any networks call it either. Usually you wait to see Fox News, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, and everyone is talking about the New York Times. Fox is talking about that. You know, it's that it seems to be trending Sherrill, but we may not know. So just hang in there, people. But again, she is up by 14 points with 57% of the votes counted, but we haven't seen some big counties come in yet. It seems like it's a pretty insurmountable lead, or a very tough lead for Ciattarelli to overcome, but mathematically it must still be there. Otherwise we would see this called. So I just wanted to give a sense of why people might be thinking that way. And also to go back,
dropped in that
chat? About how people are still questioning whether this is rigged or not. Again, there's never been any evidence of widespread voter fraud in New Jersey or throughout the country. We have election integrity monitors look at these things, and if we do see some sort of irregularity or hear anything, we would certainly report about it. But you know, what we heard from John Bramnick, a Republican state senator, and from Steve Sweeney, a Democratic former state Senate president, that it looks to be like this is a Trump backlash. Especially, also, we talk about affordability being a big deal. You know, some people may, after helping Donald Trump back to the White House last year, promising lower prices and stuff, maybe people feel that hasn't changed a year later. You know, the shutdown's still going on. So there's a lot of factors here. Like I said, this has been the most heated and, according to polls, closest governor's race that I've covered in the 4 governor's races I've covered since starting to work at NJ Advanced Media. And it's also been tough to gauge because there's so many layers. You know, you have an open seat, Donald Trump involved, shutdown, taxes. You know, there's an issue for everybody. And you have this guy, Jack Ciattarelli, a former state lawmaker, running 3 times, and this congresswoman running against him. And you know, there's just so much to peel back. And you know, it'll still be interesting. This was, you know, it's 14 points now with 58% of votes counted. So it's not over yet, but it is trending toward Sherrill.
I have one request from you, from a commenter before we go to John Walsh. I
Sure.
see you backstage, John Walsh, at Mikie Sherrill's election night party. Real quick, what is the difference between AP and decision desk?
Yes.
Since decision desk has made their call and AP has not.
There's different outlets that make calls on elections. The Associated Press is the group that we go by our calls from. They're looking at the similar data, but maybe they think that this is an insurmountable lead, and Decision Desk felt that there's no way Jack Ciattarelli could overcome it. And AP maybe is looking for some other counties to come in before they make the call. It's no different if you're watching NBC. They might call the presidential race for Donald Trump, and maybe ABC hasn't yet. So it's just, we go by AP. We go by the Associated Press. So we don't personally make calls. We go by other people.
I'm going to pull in John Walsh. He is a political content creator. He's at Mikie Sherrill. I can hear it. At Mikie Sherrill.
Hi. I know it's very loud here. Can you hear me?
I wouldn't expect anything else, considering the numbers that we are seeing, John. Is everyone on their phones updating these numbers at this party?
Everyone's very excited here. I would agree with Brent, though. I would say I personally am not looking until anything says the AP specifically. I saw Decision Desk posted at like 8:13. I'm excited, but not, I'm not there yet. So I agree with Brent on once AP calls, I can let the excitement go. I can get that another glass of wine and, start celebrating this. Yeah, here we go. Someone's passing me a drink right now.
I'd like to note that this party is at the East Brunswick Hilton, which is I'm an East Brunswick native, and I went to my senior prom there in 2002. So
well, Brett, you can still come. There's still time.
Yeah, maybe I just got to shoot down Route 1. I'll be there.
I'll get you an invite.
Thanks.
Too funny, John. The vibe there, positive vibe. Was there a shout when Decision Desk did call it? Could you hear people reacting
in different little groups? I mean, that's not one on the TV. The TVs have CNN on right now. So I'm just literally, I'm afraid.
YouTube and Facebook right now. But
actually, they're watching NJ.com on all the TVs here. But I'm afraid I'm going to miss it because I'm like, oh, here it comes. But I would agree. I keep checking, and there's not enough votes for me to even think like, oh, this is in the bag. But, I think people are excited because Virginia was called. I hear some screaming inside right now. There's new numbers coming in. People are running inside. I don't know.
All counties are reporting results now, so the AP may call very soon. 60% of the votes have been counted statewide. She is up by 14 points, 57 to 43. So we may get a result soon. Since all
it looks like she's
reporting.
Up to over 1 million, and he's at 800,000. That's what I'm seeing on CNN right now.
That's correct. That is what we have so far.
Correct.
Yeah.
With 60%.
So I know you called me for content, but I'm reporting live.
This is content reporting live.
This is content. Yes, you're being a reporter, and although it's not as fun as when you sang "Hit the Road, Jack." I was waiting. I know. For Ciattarelli. I put in my newsletter. I was waiting for Ciattarelli's team to change the words to "Mickey" by Tony Basil and shoot back, but they didn't do that. So,
John, have you?
They did play
tonight. Have you seen her or heard from her?
What'd you say?
Have you guys
not seen from her? I've talked to some of her staff. They are optimistic. I've not seen Mikie so far, so the room is filling up though.
The AP
just called it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here live.
Yeah.
Incredible, John. Did people just I can.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet in here, so I don't know if you're gonna go in the room and get the live reaction.
Absolutely.
You'll see it here if you want. I don't know if you can hear me, but
camera around too, John. You can flip your camera around and show us.
Oh, I can flip my camera. Oh, look at this! You guys are so fancy here. Oh no, that's my camera.
1 second. I'm jumping up just to make sure that we have our story ready.
No problem,
so
Brent.
Give me 1 second.
All right, so this is the room. The AP apparently called it. That's what I'm hearing.
The AP just called it.
Here you go. You hear screaming. Mikie Sherrill. Screaming for everyone watching at home.
Wow.
Mikie Sherrill, the next governor of New Jersey.
Incredible. At 9:25 p.m., the Association has called the race for New Jersey Governor. Mikie Sherrill, Democrat, wins. She will be the next governor of New Jersey. With us right now is John Wall, content creator, who is at, obviously, Mikie Sherrill's campaign party this evening. John, what is the reaction in the crowd?
The reaction is crazy. They're starting to invite people up to the stage. Leroy Jones, the Democratic chair, is coming up. I'll try to step out so we can have a more conversation. Whoa, that was electric.
I can't believe it's this early. I mean, I can. We've seen pretty
I
consistent
can't.
all night.
I thought it was going to be later, but
Wow.
whew.
Did
All
you
right.
think
Well,
it
that was
happened
wild.
this early in the night?
No, not at all. I mean, look, this is like where the food is and stuff. It's empty. People are running inside. I mean, that was CNN projecting it, so I guess they also took the AP's advice as well. But
yes,
whoa, we were supposed to talk about fun things and how we did fun TikToks, but here I am.
I mean, John, you took us live to Mikie Sherrill's headquarters, so thank you very much for that. Were people pretty confident
Of course.
in that room tonight, or is there?
I would say when I got here at 7. When I got here at 7, the staff I spoke to was pretty confident. There's a Mikie chant going on right now. I personally am so excited. I did not do enough for this to feel this excited, but I feel like I offered my small 2 cents on social media to let people know that they should vote for Mikie Sherrill this election, and I feel like that somehow worked. So
incredible. What are they chanting? What are they saying back there?
it says Mikie. They're saying Mikie, Mikie. It's Leroy Jones, the Democratic chair, is on stage right now. I can turn you around. If you want to listen to him, you can let me know. I can stop talking.
No, you know what, John? I'm going to let you go. Please enjoy the rest of the night.
All right.
Thank you so much for bringing us that moment live in our
Of
live
course.
stream. Really
Natalie, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys later if you want. Let me know, all right?
All right. Go celebrate. Thank you. Incredible. AP has called the race. Mikie Sherrill is the next governor of New Jersey. Brent Johnson, political reporter. Welcome back. That was crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, we were on. And Mikie Sherrill has already tweeted, New Jersey, it is the honor of my life to earn your trust to become this state's this great state's 57th governor. I promise to listen, lead with courage, and never forget who I serve. Sean Sullivan, who is with Jack Ciattarelli in Bridgewater, says no word yet on when Jack will speak or if he'll succeed or if he'll concede. But the AP has called it. Right now, 63% of the votes counted. Sherrill has 1.1 million, 57% of the vote. Ciattarelli has 876,000 with 42% of the vote. So right now, it's a 15-point lead for Sherrill. That'll probably change by the end of the night. But Mikie Sherrill has been projected the 57th governor of New Jersey and the second woman ever to serve as governor of New Jersey. The only one in history, and it was a Republican, Christy Whitman, in the early 90s. So she'll be the first Democratic female to serve as governor. So history made her, and they break the streak. 64 years without one party winning 3 terms in a row. Democrats have now done it. We can now see when the next streak will be, and if, we'll be talking about Taylor Swift instead of the Beatles in terms of this one. But, Mikie Sherrill now will be the governor of New Jersey come January.
I really didn't think. I was hoping we would know a winner tonight. So 9:30, and this feels like the primary. Again,
it has a similar feel to it. Yeah,
you're kind of in it. You're expecting the night to just kind of roll on, and we're live inside her headquarters tonight, and it's announced, that the AP called it. So just really,
and yeah, it's not like if we're talking, it's not the polls were tough to gauge. They showed her with a lead anywhere from 1 to 9 or 10 points. So there really wasn't we know for sure. And that's kind of how politics are these days. It's a weird place for politics in this Donald Trump dominated world. You don't know how popular he is. You don't know how much backlash there will be. Just a lot going on in this election. But now we know New Jersey will stay in blue hands, and we'll see whether Mikie Sherrill is going to move to Drumthwacket, the governor's mansion in Princeton, or whether she'll stay in Montclair.
Yeah, incredible. What do you think Jack's team is doing right now?
I'm sure they're probably thinking we have to wait to see everything to come in, but this margin is tough. Meaning, even with we're still waiting on more than a quarter of the state's votes to come in to overcome a 15 percentage point disadvantage. It will be tough. So I'm sure they're probably thinking, when do we concede? What do we say? As I asked Matt Hale, the question is going to be, is this the end of the line for Jack Ciattarelli? He's been running for governor for 10 years. Could we see him run again? Because, now we're going to have Republicans trying to unseat Mikie Sherrill in 4 years, and someone's got to do it. And the question has always been, in the wake of Chris Christie's two-term governorship, when he went from being one of the most popular figures in the state to one of the least popular, who was the Republican bench? Who was the person who was going to take up the torch? And maybe we'll be looking for someone else, or maybe, there's a lot of questions here. But, New Jersey will stay blue for, it'll be another 4 years of Democratic rule. So there's a lot of things to think about.
I mean, who was saying it earlier in the night? They were like, Jersey's really not so much blue anymore. It's purple.
Yes. Sweeney said that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's New Jersey had been trending more red in recent years. Trump did much better here last year than the years before. Democrats did not have a good presidential election last year. And maybe it just is a sign that things. It's very similar, actually, to the first Trump midterms in 2018 when Sherrill won her seat in Congress. There was just a big pushback against Trump after 1 year in, and maybe we're seeing a return to that. But New Jersey, it's been seen as a blue state, but it's turning purple, and now you have to say it's a blue state again because they control all branches of government still. So. A lot to take in. This is a big night in New Jersey, and a result that most polls were predicting that Sherrill would win. But I don't know if anyone was expecting this early and this much of a lead.
Well, you know what, Brent, I want to bring in our next guest, Rhiannon Mindas. She is a content creator, and I'm sure that she now knows. Hi, Rhiannon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh my goodness. So we just had some big news here in Jersey. At what time, Brent? About 9:25?
9:23 is when I got called.
9:23. AP called the race in favor of Mikie Sherrill. What is your reaction as someone who has been, a supporter of Jack's campaign on social media?
I'm surprised because the energy that, I'm located in Ocean County, which there was a lot of support for Jack there. And I feel like this is kind of early, but if that's the case, these are the results. I still feel the same way that social media has played a really important part in this election. And moving forward, I think we do need to have our representatives more active on social media and telling us what's going on and what's happening. And, I think we saw a lot of that in the prep coming up to this election day. And I think we'll see a lot more of that moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, the political experts, we on social media could see that there was a lot of enthusiasm around Jack. Were you still feeling that tonight, that same level of enthusiasm?
I was. I saw that his son came home from the military. I was really happy to see that for him. All around, I think there's positives with how many people got involved in this election. To have it not be a presidential election, everybody has been talking about it. And I think a lot more people got out and were active in voting this time around.
Were you surprised that Decision Desk had made a call as early as they did?
I was. It was funny because I was on a TikTok live talking about you guys covering it. I had your live coverage up and we were talking about the results as you guys were updating them. And people in my comments were saying they've already called it. And you guys were reporting that it was only 38% of the vote in at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, that can't be possible because they had told me that the live coverage, once it was called, would be noted. And then you guys had explained that the AP hadn't called it yet. So it was pretty shocking to at 38% that people were already calling it. So
yeah.
I was surprised.
What was it about Jack, Rhiannon, that really resonated with you and with your followers?
So being in Ocean County, we do house the Oyster Creek Power Plant, and I really liked his energy policies, as you know, most of the supporters did. It was also his focus on reducing the tax burdens and the school funding formula. So those were the three big things that most people were talking about from his campaign.
Yeah. What would you hope? So Mikie Sherrill, was sworn in. What would you hope to hear and see from her as your governor?
So I'm hoping that she takes the same kinds of points and does something to help us with our energy. I'm not really on board with her plan of freezing the rates at the highest that they are right now, but hoping that she can push for more energy so that we're not importing as much and that we're producing again. I do hope that she does that, and that she'll fix the school funding formula and reduce our taxes, because those are the top three things. No matter what, I'm hoping she'll do that as well.
You're a mom, I'm a mom. We would really like a little bit more of a break. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So, Rhiannon, real quick, are you named after the Fleetwood Mac song or no?
I am. Yeah,
that's what
my
I
mom
figured.
is a big Stevie Nicks fan.
As well, everyone should be. I just figured it would. What do you think this means for the next for the party? Democrats will continue to control all branches of government here, but do you want to see Jack run again? Do you want to see new blood in the party? What do you think the party needs to do?
At this point, looking forward to the next governor race is a little bit too far for me to even think about.
Yes.
I think my focus will be on our local representatives, our assemblymen and our senators, because they're the ones that are going to push the legislation to her desk. And, those are the people we need to communicate with for our communities to get things to happen. And I hope more people become active in talking with their assemblymen and their senators. So
Thank you. Which you've done, become more vocal, getting people more involved and connecting on social media. Social media is a blessing and a curse, but
absolutely.
I see your content, Rhiannon, and I hope you keep doing what you're doing too, despite tonight's results, and keep talking to your audience, because it's a conversation that needs to keep happening. So.
Absolutely. It's important for both sides to discuss things and come to a happy medium where everybody in New Jersey can afford to be here and live the Jersey life. Jersey's great.
Jersey is great. Rhiannon, thank you so much for joining us on such an important night. Really.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rhiannon.
Take care. So we got Jillian just updated this graphic. So this is a look at the AP calling Mikie Sherrill at this point. I just want to take one look at Mikie's campaign and see if we can hear it. We've got video producer Lauren Raposa at Mikie Sherrill's headquarters. And there's been no warning yet.
By the way, I'd like to note that my father-in-law texted me that he was curious how Tony Kiefer, by the way, my wife's father, was asking how could they call it for Ciattarelli with only 60% of the vote in, and basically just to explain to voter or watchers, readers, all the people that the idea is that they might see that the people who call it might see there's not a way for Ciattarelli to overcome. That the votes coming in will likely go more towards Sherrill, and that it's an insurmountable lead for Ciattarelli to overcome for Sherrill. So that's kind of the idea, is that there's no way for him to make it up. So they wouldn't make this call if they didn't think they were solid on that respect. I also want to give a shout out to my parents, Patty and Bruce. My dad is a longtime journalist who used to cover every election night, and I wanted to get into this business because I would see him on election night and do these kind of things. And so, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Oh, that's cool. Brent, let's take it over to Katie Couch, data reporter at NJ.com. Hey, Katie.
Hey guys, I'm back with some new maps, given everything that we've learned tonight.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
Was quick, wasn't necessarily expecting this, but with Canva and a dream, you can get anything done.
I love it. Tell us what you
so
got, Katie.
The headline here is that we've seen a number of counties that voted for Republican President Donald Trump last year and had flipped from the previous presidential election. So that is to say, Democrat in 2020, Republican in 2024, have now gone back to Democrat in 2025. As you can see here, this is the map of how the counties voted in the 2024 presidential election. It's live TV. It's got to be low tech. 5 counties flipped. That was big news last year, just, given the state of how big everything was last year. Those 5 counties were Gloucester, Cumberland, Atlantic, Morris, and Passaic. All 5 of those counties have now flipped back as of about 15 minutes ago. This is AP live results. They're also joined by a 6th county, Hunterdon, which did vote Republican in 2020. It also voted Republican in 2021 and now is back to Democrat. Of the 6 counties, 5 of them voted Republican in 2021, the only exception being Passaic, which did vote for Murphy in 2021. So overall, we're seeing kind of a lot of flip-flopping. There's a lot of back and forth. It's possible that we see long-term 2024 was a bit of an outlier. It's also possible we see that the flip-flop is the new normal. It's kind of hard to tell. It's certainly far too early to tell. But this is the best map I can show you guys as of right now to compare what last year looked like to this year. And I do just want to be clear that the coloring is a little different just because we use a different software than the AP to make our maps. So New Jersey's a little bit more blue than it was last year, but hard to say what that means for the future.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it. Guys, I'm going to take it back to Mikie Sherrill's headquarters real quick. I just want to check in. Okay. So it looks like we're still waiting for a warning about when Sherrill will come out to address her supporters and give her victory speech. Sorry, I saw people hands up and clapping. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't an activity on stage. Thank you, Lauren Raposa, who is running that live shot from Mikie Sherrill's Election Night headquarters. Let me know when you get a one-on-one. Let's take it over to Tom Martello, politics editor and columnist. Tom.
Hello.
Fox News declaring Mikie Sherrill elected New Jersey governor, right?
Well, there it is. Now it's official. It's interesting. First of all, I had never realized that Matt Hale was a Red Sox fan, and so there's no reason.
You guys can go to battle now, Tom.
No reason to call him anymore. One of the things that Matt did say was how good the Democrats are getting out the vote, and not speaking for 2021, but everybody was saying, how in the world did Donald Trump come within 6 percentage points last election cycle? And one Democrat had said, well, everybody thought New Jersey was not a swing state, everything's in the bag, and we're right next door to Pennsylvania, and so a lot of the door knockers didn't do that in New Jersey last time round, and went to Pennsylvania to lose there as well. But that was one thing, and in this year, they did do their job getting out the vote. Like that license plate told me about 4 or 5 hours ago. Turnout.
Side note: AP also just declared Zohran Mamdani as the new mayor of New York City.
Right. So we have mixed messages for the future of the Democratic Party. you have a Democratic socialist winning in New York City, and a moderate Democrat winning in New Jersey, which is a mixed message that everybody should understand, because New York City and New Jersey are different animals altogether.
But I guess it all comes down to, Tom, also that meaning Democrats have one objective regardless of the branch of the party. Go against Donald Trump.
All against Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure that that Cuomo endorsement did a lot for him at the very end. So yeah, I think what we have is a clear repudiation of Donald Trump, and I think that at the very end, you had the shutdown, and you had Mikie hammering Ciattarelli on Trump and on the big beautiful bill, and then we had then everybody was saying it was all about affordability, and I think if you look at some of that arguments in the latter stages of the campaign, she did fight toe to toe, maybe not with an ad that was altogether truthful about him raising the sales tax by 10%, but little by little, those things can add up if people are not paying attention. She was able to go after his strong points, and she was also able to go after his great weakness, and his great weakness was Donald Trump.
What?
Brett? Yeah.
What do you make of what this means for the Republicans over the next 4 years in New Jersey now? Do we just go back to status quo where Democrats are all in control and Republicans, all they can do is send out press releases complaining? Or do you think maybe 2 years from now Republicans could take back over the legislature? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We haven't looked at the assembly races yet, but I think what you have is there's always going to be anti-incumbency, and so that was Jack. That's what I said at the very beginning. You didn't have Donald Trump, he would have had a free shot at the incumbent. But Donald Trump sucks all the air out, all the air out of the room, all the oxygen out of the room, and guess what? He's the incumbent. So you almost had two incumbents. So people were unhappy about the economy. They may have been unhappy about property taxes. Most of them might have been unhappy about what might happen with tariffs, or what is happening with the government shutdown and all of that too, and all the chaos. So it was looking ahead. I don't think I think Mikie Sherrill will be the incumbent in 2 years, and so she'll have to face the voters on what they were able to accomplish or not accomplish in her midterms, by her midterms.
Yeah, and we're almost to 75% of votes counted, 73 at this point, and she still has a 14-point lead. Which again, I don't know if any polls showed a 14-point lead in the recent weeks. The highest I ever saw get was 10, and I think that was an internal poll.
And
so this is
really
an overperformance on Sherrill's part and an underperformance on Jack's part. We'll see what the final quarter of the votes goes. But
if you're looking at 14, you're way out of the margin of error. With most of the polls, we were talking 2%, 7%, 8%, and then you have a margin of error. I don't know whether whether that goes up to 14%. So yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at something where everybody sort of if you were predicting anything for Jack, like I might have been doing that in past columns, and you can see the egg dripping off of my face, so.
Well, let me ask you, for someone who's covered every governor's race of my lifetime, have you seen one like this where no one really knew what was going to happen, and then the winner ends up being 10 points or more? Is this unusual in your coverage?
Well, 10 points or no, I don't think we saw that. I think what we saw was Christy Whitman behind. I mean, there was a late New York Times poll, maybe September or October at that point, where that she was ahead by 20, and I guess she was behind by 8 or 9, 9% or 10% going into the, kind of like Murphy last year, but that was a swing. He was ahead by 8, he lost by 3. That was a sort of a 5 percentage point swing. Christie Whitman's swing was like 9 percentage points by most of the polls. There was one poll that was sort of the least, admittedly by the pollster, the least scientific, that had it a lot closer, a lot of undecideds at the last minute, but no one was foreseeing that she would actually win, and at that point. Something like this, where it's really close and it becomes a blowout. I mean, the last time I saw that was like 4 months ago in the Democratic primary. It happened.
Update from Mikie Sherrill's election night party this evening.
She's the comeback kid. But yeah, very, very few times do you see it this close and it becomes sort of a landslide. At 75%, if we're going, if it's 14 now, if it breaks down to about 10, that's still a landslide.
We intend on taking Mikie Sherrill speaking before her supporters at her election night party in East Brunswick, right, Brent? East Brunswick?
Yep.
Lauren Raposa, our video producer, is standing by there. We have a shot backstage that I can show you guys. Lauren was told that the lieutenant governor will be coming out to speak, but
Dale Caldwell will be. That's another thing, that he will be the lieutenant governor of the state. He is a former Centenary College president and New Brunswick school board member. He will be the 4th lieutenant governor in state history. And notable, the 3 of the 4 lieutenant governors have all been Black. Sheila Oliver, Tahisha Way, been the last 2, and so he would be the 3rd. First lieutenant governor was Kim Guadagno. But so, and as I said, Sherrill will be just the 2nd female governor. So a little bit of history there.
Yep, and the first, and now we'll have to stop saying the last time we've had 3 consecutive terms of one party since 1961. So all of your discussions about how the last time it happened was when the Bills were just there or the Mets had not been.
I know, and I had to find all kinds of things. West Side Story won Best Picture that year, and I had to find all kinds of things to describe it. So
we'll lean on the Democrats winning. Last time Republicans won a U.S. Senate race, it was pre-disco, so we'll have to lean on that.
1972. We also have a reporter at the Ciattarelli camp, Brianna Kudich. My colleague is over there. That's at the Bridgewater Marriott. I asked her what the vibes are like over there. She said, some people don't seem very happy, but the vibe is pretty okay, and I'm sure they know that the AP has called it. So we're still waiting on Jack to say something too, just to update viewers. But going back to the AP count, we're now at 75% of the vote. So 3/4 of the vote have been counted in New Jersey. Sherrill is up 56.5% to 43% over Ciattarelli. So about a 13.5 lead. So 25% to go to see how much that narrows or whether she pushes it out. But again, AP has called Mikie Sherrill to be the next governor of New Jersey. Fox News has called it. Decision Desk has called it. So it's looking like Sherrill's the winner.
Incredible. Can you tell me a little bit more about the lieutenant governor?
Yeah, he's a very interesting resume. He has a very varied resume. His name is Dale Caldwell. Again, the president of Centenary College, which is a small college in Northwest New Jersey, up in Hackettstown. He is a longtime school board member in New Brunswick, and which is where I was born. He also, his father was a civil rights activist who marched with Martin Luther King Jr. He also has he served in Jim McGreevy's administration as the head of the community affairs department. So he's kind of got all kind. And the thought was that part of the reason she chose him was to help shore up Black voters. There was one concern going into this race that Black voters and Latino voters might be apathetic to Sherrill, that she wasn't, after what happened with Kamala Harris not winning last year. There was a thought that maybe they had to shore up support among those voting blocks. And Clearly, that concern did not come to fruition because Sherrill is on pace to win. So that's one thing. Another thing we'll be looking at in the post-mortem on this race. So in Caldwell, obviously the lieutenant governor, it's only the fourth one we've had in history. It's a relatively new position. The lieutenant governor takes over when the governor goes out of state, and God forbid something bad happens to the governor and they're indisposed or dies. They become the governor of New Jersey. It's kind of like our version of vice president. So that's who Caldwell is. He's apparently speaking at the election party that Sherrill's holding in East Brunswick at the East Brunswick Hilton.
Yeah.
So and that's by the way, Ciattarelli's running mate was Morris County Sheriff Jim Gannon, but he will not be lieutenant governor. It'll be Dale Caldwell.
Also, I just asked our managers in our Slack channel, have we heard anything from Trump? He posted on social media much earlier in the evening about Jackson and Ocean County and their support for Jack. But since then, I haven't seen anything. Have either of you?
No, and I expect him to say something. Let's talk a little bit about Trump in New Jersey. Trump has a long history in New Jersey. He obviously owned 3 Atlantic City casinos for decades here. He still owns a golf course in Bedminster and 2 others in the state. And he spends his summers in Bedminster. He loves New Jersey. And he was really looking at this as a big prize. New Jersey has long been a blue or purple state. And he looked at maybe flipping New Jersey as a crown jewel heading into next year's midterms. So I'm sure he'll have something to say because as most people tell you, it looks like this has been an anti-Trump backlash this election. So I don't know if he will address that. He probably will double down and push back on that. But no, I don't see anything yet from Donald Trump, although I wouldn't be surprised if he says something soon.
One interesting point that I'm seeing it's only 56% of the vote in, but it's Morris County, which is part of Mikie Sherrill's congressional district, and also where her lieutenant governor is Jack Ciattarelli's lieutenant governor candidate is sheriff, and she has a very comfortable lead over him right now in Morris County. So those are the kinds of things you're seeing where he has not performed as well as even when he did 4 years ago.
I just got a message to Sherrill. This is from Sherrill's campaign saying she is supposed to speak any minute now. So she should be taking the stage soon. Just so people, if you want to tune in, we'll take you what we can hear of that. And but it looks like she's going to give some sort of victory speech. No word yet on when Ciattarelli is going to speak or when he will concede.
I'm going to pull us all off stage real quick, just so I can check in with Sherrill's headquarters and listen in. I have gotten no warning from Lauren Raposa that she's coming out yet, but we're all standing by. So let me speak that real quick. Looks like an election night party while everyone is waiting for the person to speak.
Yes.
Not quite sure what to do next and just standing by. So tomorrow, Phil Murphy already announced that he would meet with the winner, no matter who it was, Jack or Mikie. So he'll be meeting, do you think, with both still tomorrow or just Mike?
Yeah, Tom, unless I'm wrong, this is not something I've ever had in the 15 years I've covered New Jersey politics. Murphy, who's now thinking about his legacy, and this obviously looks pretty good for his legacy, meaning though his polling has been kind of underwater lately, he goes out being replaced by someone from his own party, and that's a pretty good legacy to leave on, even if many people will speak out against his policies, and he'll probably get some criticism, as all governors do as they go out the door. But yeah, I mean, you'll see the current governor standing with the former governor. And he ended up, the question was how much she was going to run away from him during the campaign. And in the end, she broke with him on a number of things, especially on energy policy. She said she's going to freeze energy rates. And he said, I don't even know if that's possible, which was a pretty noticeable moment in the race. But he campaigned with her in the final week. He went out on the trail for her. And so again, a good thing for Phil Murphy's legacy to be leaving with this kind of result. So we'll see them together tomorrow. I'm actually curious to see what they're going to say. It'll be notable. I mean, I want
Let's
to
go. Excuse me, Brent. So sorry. We're going to go to Mikey's election night party real quick.
And people around the country. I agree too. This is a tough thing. This is a tough thing. But I know New Jersey. And I love you. I've spoken with thousands of you over this last year. I know your struggles. I know your goals. I know your dreams. So serving you is worth any tough fight I have to take on, and I am incredibly honored to be your next I raised my hand and I swore to defend the Constitution. And that moment defines me. It taught me that leadership means carrying the weight of other people's hopes. Standing firm when it's easier to bend. They're getting it all. Always. Believe in common good above personal gain. And you can be serving these times. And I just had a call from Jack Ciattarelli, and I want to recognize him for standing up. I love our history, and our state flag is always Jesus. In 1777, New Jersey was one of the first states to choose anybody? Liberty and prosperity. Against education, right? We'll get that in the game. It was a demand for freedom, from oppression, and a commitment to creating better opportunity and a better future. That idea was defined as promise 250 years. We fought for liberty and the grassroots of the American Revolution during the time for our young nation in the battles of Trenton and Princeton. We offer prosperity as we built the nation during the Industrial Revolution. Great of scientific discovery, committing everything from the light bulb to the laser. Liberty and prosperity. I've seen the genius in that body last year. Because both are essential in our things. And as the president is backing away from the same place now, we're making away healthcare, terminating gateway. We here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children. We see here important liberties. We know that no one in our great state is safe when our neighbors are targeted during the law and the Constitution. But prosperity is equally essential. Liberty alone is not enough if the government makes it impossible to get a good education or to get a job. It's so unnecessary choices that it shouldn't be too much to ask. Right now, the concerns in this. Governors have like like national government to build prosperity for all our citizens. Now, because of the big prosperity needs, what it's going to take for your family to thrive. So here you work. I'm going to work with communities from the ground up to all of our neighbors. There's a deep emergency and taking it right down. I'm going to make sure our kids are safe online and schools have the resources they need to address the mental health crisis. I hear you. Balancing individual living with collective responsibility, ensuring people are safe, healthy, educated, and free to experience their dreams. I hear you, teachers. Our good government doesn't just manage problems, it's lost. So I'm going to continue to listen for any of your state because I know there's so much that's actually in their state. Our innovations, our businesses, our vendors and entrepreneurs have an amazing, but it's like people that have fun with the biggest need, especially those who are fighting for prosperity for their entire families and families during that hot market trend. It's just slow or something. The challenges. Love to be the young man from Monroe to be converted to the state. They want to see the people ready to fight that they're culture. The little girls who come on to me and say that they're going to be on the spot and spirit. It's really culturally big. So it's what I think we're actually stop words. October 16,000 doors. These are not the kids. 16 in terms
about the promise of our city and our neighbors despite the challenges. I love the group of young men from Monroe who've been hard at work on this campaign. They want a seat at the table and they're ready to fight for their future. The little girls who come up to me to say that they're going to be a governor or they're going to be a president. It reminds me of my own belief. At a union jobs, at a time when our economy is set up to make it harder and harder for working people, you know what? They don't just fight for their brothers and sisters in labor, they fight for all of us. For working families everywhere, so everyone has a shot. So thank you. Thank you to each and every person here tonight and across the state who's worked hard over the last year. Thanks to the thousands of volunteers who made millions of calls, texts, and canvases, to everyone who's ready to stand and demand a better future for our kids and our families. To my running mate, Dr. Dale Caldwell. You've already served our state so well, and I'm proud to have you by my side as we embark upon this new chapter for New Jersey. To my team, who put together a campaign the likes of this state has never seen, and helped in our efforts to create a great future for New Jersey. And thanks to my family. Who put up with missed soccer games, lacrosse games, football games, volleyball games, swim meets, and rugby games, all to put up with this, so thank you. And a special thanks to my husband, Jason. Through 4 kids, 2 dogs, a hamster, numerous goldfish, 5 campaigns, an insurrection, and 2 impeachments, you have been a truly amazing partner. So thank you to everyone who's joined me in fighting for a better future. I know these are tough times. I know not everyone voted for me, but I'm working for everyone. Every single one of you. When we all do better, we all do better. So tomorrow begins a new day. And at each new day in New Jersey, the sun rises over the Statue of Liberty, a daily reminder of her promise. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. She declares that her lamp lights the path to the golden door. That golden door is New Jersey. It always has been. And that expectation is well deserved, especially after this election, where we chose, we're going to follow Lady Liberty's beacon. We're not going to give in to our darker impulses. Here in New Jersey, we know that this nation has not ever been, nor will it ever be, ruled by kings. We take oaths to a constitution, not a king. We've chosen liberty, the very foundation of democracy, and we've chosen prosperity necessary to create opportunity for all. So New Jersey, to quote the boss, the future is now. Roll up your sleeves, let your passion flow. The country we carry in our hearts is waiting. Thank you, New Jersey.
Hi, everyone. Natalie Patterson, video manager with NJ.com. We're just listening to Democrat Mikie Sherrill give her victory speech on a major night here in New Jersey. Mikie Sherrill elected as the next governor of New Jersey. If you are with us, we did have a feed. Just wanted to apologize. We had a live feed from the election night, but as you see, everyone takes their phones up in the air. They're streaming to their social platforms, so there's only so much internet to go around. We had Lauren Raposa, video producer, at the election night party. And Brent, have we heard from Jack?
Yes, he spoke at the same time she did. He
Okay.
said that because I got the feed from Brianna Kudich. He called to congratulate her and concede. He said, I'll give you some quotes from his speech. Listen, guys, nobody is more disappointed than I am. As John F. Kennedy once said, life is not always fair. He said that he still believes in his brand of leadership and that he still hasn't stopped believing because of the outcome. Yes, Republicans are the minority party, but this also means being the voice of opposition. Just because we are not successful tonight does not mean we are not successful in talking about the issues. Thank you, everyone. So, it's over. I mean, that's it. So the AP's called it. Jack has said he called to congratulate her. She quoted Bruce Springsteen, came on stage to Born to Run. I'd like to say that she probably could have picked a better Bruce Springsteen song, with all due respect to the boss. Can someone pick like Growing Up from Greetings from Asbury Park or something? But
Literally anything else.
I know. Come on. The man has written hundreds of songs that are better than Born to Run. But whatever. She said that the sun in New Jersey rises over the Statue of Liberty, and that we heed Lady Liberty's call, and that we do not elect kings in New Jersey. We swear our oath to the Constitution. We are not a country or a state of kings, which is a indirect reference to Donald Trump and the No Kings movement.
Still nothing from Trump yet tonight?
I just looked. No, he has not said anything about the elections tonight. I imagine he will, whether it be over Truth Social or when he's asked on Air Force One.
I just got a clip from video producer Sean Sullivan, who's at Jack's election night headquarters. He just sent us a clip. Do you want to give that a listen?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes, Republicans are the minority party, but that means also being the loyal opposition and continuing to ensure that our voice is heard. The voice of the middle class, the voice of every minority across this state, the voice of those who want to protect their children from a public school curriculum that doesn't really serve our purposes well anymore. The need for us to get back to teaching the basics in our public schools. Reading, writing, math, science, civics, vocational training. The need to lower taxes in this, the highest tax state in the country. The need to reduce a bloated and inefficient state government that doesn't serve its citizens well. The need to support law enforcement to keep our communities safe once again.
Did I hear correctly? Did he call Sherrill to congratulate?
Yeah,
her?
Brianna Kudic said that he called Sherrill to congratulate her, which means you can assume that he called to concede as well. So that's it. That's what we have. And Mikie Sherrill is going to be the new governor. Jack Ciattarelli fell in his third straight bid for governor. She will be the second woman governor in state history. Where Democrats will continue to control the governor's office and the state legislature. It looks like that's probably on pace too. New Jersey is a blue state. Andy Kim, our U.S. Senator, tweeted that this is a reminder that New Jersey is a blue state, which is something we heard Sherrill say on the campaign trail in recent days. Yes, we've trended purple. We're not a purple state. We're a blue state. And this election shows that that's true, at least for now, in the age of Donald Trump's second presidency.
Interesting. Brent, thank you so much. I know you've been multitasking all night. Thank you to Jillian Swisher, our graphics producer, who's been updating everything that you're seeing on screen tonight. Thank you to Lauren Raposa, video producer, who was taking that feed from Mikie Sherrill's headquarters tonight, and Sean Sullivan, who was just able to get us that clip of Jack Ciattarelli addressing his supporters at his headquarters tonight. Thank you for joining NJ.com's election night live stream. It's been really great to have a conversation with you. Brent, I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, we have
Donald Trump.
Oh, Trump tweeted Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight, according to pollsters. He said that in mostly all caps in true Donald Trump fashion. One other thing to note, that this means also that Sherrill's U.S. House seat will be open. There'll be a special election at some point in the new year for that. And Tom Malinowski, the former U.S. rep in New Jersey, has already filed paperwork to run. So that'll be another election to watch next year. Next year also, Cory Booker is going to run for re-election in the U.S. Senate. We're still waiting to see which Republicans will challenge him. All seats in the U.S. House are open next year. So New Jersey, the spotlight will be back on us in another election season.
Still plenty to go. And be sure to check out NJ.com, the website, for county results, as well as a lot more on the governor's race today and of course into tomorrow as we continue our coverage. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to those on YouTube and on Facebook. Really appreciate you engaging in the conversation tonight. Have a good night, Brent.
Have a good night, Natalie. This was great. Thank you.
See ya.